Good evening. How the devil are you? Welcome along from me and Mini-Me. Quite sad today. It's the last one. Well, when I say it's the last one, it's not the last one forever. Well, I don't know. I could pop off, of course, between now and December, but it's the last EPL review thanks to this damn World Cup. I mean, are you used to it yet? Because I'm not. This is Leicester LTIDtv. It's Monday night. It's 7 o'clock. It is the EPL review show. Good evening.
It's time. Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right. What a day. What a day. And, you know, my fire alarm my smoke alarm was beeping. And I thought, what the hell is it doing? It's electric. Why is it beeping? But, of course, it has a backup battery. And after being in the flat for 12 years, it finally needed replacing. So I took it out. I thought I'll go shopping later. Did that stop it beeping? Did it buggery? It was still going. And then I've done a few jobs around the studio. And when you go shopping and you go and you think, I need to just get that one item. It could be Bounty bars. Who knows? It could be anything. Yeah, don't you be shaking your head, Dave. And you come out and you've got everything bar the Bounty bars that you went in for. I wanted to screw my microphone back in, keep it clean, and I've done everything but that. Anyway, come on, little foxy, say good evening. There we go. And he says good evening to you. Talking of little foxes, hey, I know. Page 7 fella for the discerning woman. Let's get in. Dave, good evening.
Hello, what a wonderful welcome.
Well, I tried my best.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Some people, of course, know you as Sniffer, but let's just say you are full of a cold.
I will be tonight. Yeah.
Yes.
I've got my toilet roll, Andy. Requisite toilet roll.
As everybody does near the computer.
Yeah.
That is a bit worrying when I've just had a message said that the link that I allowed to be posted to the group is actually a link to naked women. Now that does worry me, but I'm sorry I've deleted it before you could get on there, Dave. Spencer says, good evening, guys. Great win on Saturday. Was it just a great win? Funnily enough, I was on 2 West Ham shows last week, Dave, and one of them, it's gone very quiet on social media, and the other one invited me to a review show last night. I didn't enjoy it.
I bet you didn't. so tough, isn't it, when you win at West Ham?
It is, and it's so. I think. Well. This was me. This was me last night. I've got to be honest with you.
I know, it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
Yeah. Because I lived in Surrey for 40 odd years, I have lots of mates that support these London clubs. So you can imagine we moved down in 1977, the Frank McClintock season.
Yes.
And apart from travelling up there, did I get stick that year from
Mm.
all these Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham, Fulham, that lot. So it was nice to stick it back at them. West Ham,
Yeah.
always a tough place to go to. Always.
It is.
Well,
one of our bogey teams.
Yeah, it was in the old ground. Upton Park was a nightmare.
Oh, indeed. I mean, I can remember the season of the Great Escape, and I used to. And the problem with working in somewhere like Bournemouth is that most families have moved here from somewhere else in the country to live. So, like myself, I've moved down here. I'm not a Bournemouth supporter. My son's grown up supporting Leicester, but he will follow Bournemouth because it's his local team. But Leicester's the team he supports. So there's when I worked at the local rag, there's a lot of fans that supported other teams like your Man United, your Chelsea, and every Monday morning when I walked through that door to the right, and the door opened sort of to the left that way, to the right was a Man United fan, and during that season, he gave me some stick because obviously we were losing week after week after week, and we just got promoted. It was you're going back down. Oh, God, did I love those last few weeks? Not as much as I enjoyed the following season, I've got to be honest with you, but...
when did they last win the league? Can you remember?
I can't. It's that far back. No.
Or Arsenal.
No. I do normally, as you know, have the Daily Arsenal, the Daily Man United, and I haven't used it this season. Probably because we're towards the bottom, but I do need to bring out the Daily Forest, I think, especially for the show at 9:30 tonight, which is the fan show, The Rivals, with me and another Dave, Nottingham Forest fan. Right, what a weekend! I mean, this season, what a weird season.
It is crazy, and you know what? It's all getting me down with all these comments. Where's the Rodgers out brigade now and all this nonsense? I mean, we don't need all that. We weren't wrong. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? We saw all the games. I mean, I didn't go to the Tottenham game, but I went to Brighton and games, and it was bad. There's no doubt about it. It was bad.
Yeah.
And then we made our point. We said it's bad. Against Brighton, I mean, it all started so well. We had two up front. It was going brilliantly. And then he just messed it up. And the players didn't look like they knew what they were doing. But now, well, since they brought in that defensive coach, it's changed the whole thing completely. And
totally has. And
amazing.
as you know, I write for the BBC, and my column tomorrow on column. That sounds posh, doesn't it? My column on the BBC is very much in those sort of following Leicester is a roller coaster ride. And good evening, Scott, by the way. And
Hello, mate.
I said I've put so much weight on because I've eaten so much humble pie. But we didn't know all the facts. Like I say, if I'd known what I knew after the Manchester United game on deadline day when the chairman wrote, his notes, if I'd known that at the start of the season, I would have been a lot more understanding towards Brendan.
But that's no excuse about the way they played. I mean, it was individual all the time. Danny Ward was getting stick. Talking about Danny Ward, he was in the team of the week this week.
Oh. I mean,
I think it's the Sky, is it, or something? Team of the week.
Equal top for clean sheets for the season.
I think me and Brad and you were both all saying that it's not his fault. He's not getting protection. The defence are dreadful. They were making mistakes 20, 30 yards out and giving the ball away. It was horrendous. But now it seems that this guy is doing his job, and it's not taking him long, is it, to turn it around?
I mean, I said, earlier on in the season, at the Spurs game, he was sat there with his head in his hand, and he'd have probably dropped it. But whatever he has done, as I then said, lock him up somewhere, double his contract, double his wages, and throw the key away. Don't let anybody get to him. But I mean, we'll start with this game, and why not? We're talking about it. I mean, there's so many things that were wrong at the start of the season. Tielemans was still being picked, and I still say then he was off form at the start of the season. You know, those goals that he's since scored, he was not getting that sort of chances at the start of the season. And Marty was being played on the wrong side of defence. I mean, him and Vase, my God, you know, are we one of the best centre-back pairings potentially we will ever see at Leicester? Or am I exaggerating a little bit?
I think you're exaggerating a little bit, but it's still scary enough that Marty was possibly man of the match. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, who it was given to, but
I know he's not your favourite player, but
well, he wasn't.
You know, at the start of the season, he was poor, but like I say, being played out of position, put him back on his right side, and like I say, we're not talking like Steve Walsh, Jerry Taggart, Matt Elliott sort of partnerships, but Vase and Amati at the moment, thou shall not pass.
I think Johnny Evans is going to struggle, isn't he? To get back in, even if we play 5 at the back. So, yeah, I mean, brilliant. I think I messaged you or Brad or something. I've never been so happy to be wrong about Amati. Never been so happy.
Oh, it wasn't me, because I would have brought that up definitely.
Well, that's why I probably didn't send it you. Yeah.
Fair point.
But, I mean, he gives everything. There's no doubt about it. But he just made those mistakes that gave goals away. And he was, I suppose, being in the defence, it was more noticeable. If he was in midfield doing it, like Samare does, he gives the ball away too much. Then he's got cover. But as a goalkeeper and as a defender, you give it away, you're losing your goal down. So he suffered for that, but no, incredible change around.
Yeah.
I'd love to have heard what was said to him to change it.
Yeah.
I know how the position helps, but just what time did he spend and what did he say to him about it? Because obviously he's done something.
I mean, maybe this new defensive coach. I mean, we know he's off to the World Cup now with America. But he may have gone up to Brendan and said, "Look, Brendan, you're wrong. This is what you should be doing." And I like I say, I've ate so much humble pie this season so far that I put a stone on.
Well, why not? Chris, we can only call it as it is at the time, can't we?
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't make you whatever people say. It doesn't make you less of a fan because you actually criticise. But I've gone from saying Rodgers get out of my club to well, actually, if he gets us top 10 at the end of this season, if we don't sign anybody else, then maybe he should have yet another season with us. But
and to be honest, I've been going long enough now to know that everybody moans there. I mean, I surprisingly enough, on here I'll moan, but not at the ground. I just hold my head in my hands sometimes, but I don't boo or moan or anything. But there's plenty of people around me that do, and always have done for decades. So it makes me chuckle when people come on, and saying this, that, and the other. You can only be objective, can't you? It was poor. You said it was poor. Now it's good, and we're saying it's good.
But you know what it is in this woke world that we live in. You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah.
On here you are. I mean, look at that there. I mean, Leicester. All right. I mean, there's one red dot there that we lost to Man City, but we restricted the. All right, I know they were beaten at the weekend by Brentford, and congratulations to Brentford. We'll come on to that game later, obviously. But we restricted them to a pot shot, and it was an excellent pot shot. Let's not get it wrong. But look at the turnaround. I mean, it's almost like the World Cup's come it's come. We know it's come at the wrong time, but we could do with it not coming now because we're on such a rich vein of form.
Yeah, because the transfer window opens in January.
Yeah, 1st of January.
And we're back playing by then, which again is pointless. Transfer window should have been open in December. Give the clubs time to actually recruit. Get them settled into the club, ready for January start. The whole thing is nonsense. Timing, and I read something this morning. I mentioned it on the breakfast show this morning that the FIFA want us to all forget about the politics now, concentrate on football. Well, that's all well and good, but it doesn't work like that. You know,
No.
you can't brush it under the carpet. And I think you said, didn't you, Friday maybe you would, that politics and sports, should it link up? Well, it's got no choice.
No, it was, yeah, I did say that a couple of weeks ago, and it is wrong that the whole country is wrong in the way that it goes about its LGBTQ policies. It's obviously the way it treats migrants. Well, there's so much wrong in that country, but it's not the only country in the world. Do we not give the World Cup to America next time or last time because they got one of the biggest anti-racist policies out there? Obama, and we're getting politics here, but Obama, he stopped a lot going. There's countries around the world, but then again, Qatar's got the one big thing that makes the difference, and that's oil
and money.
But Blatter coming out now saying it was wrong to give it to them. It's a bit wrong. But
well, is he giving the money back? Has he?
Well, the money
Allegedly.
that he didn't receive, we'll see.
Allegedly.
We'll watch that. But look, on this game, I mean, what a start! What a start! And Daka looked like he was going to take the shot. He didn't. He pulled it back across for Maddison. He had to score. It was almost like written in the stars, wasn't it?
What do you reckon about that? Do you reckon he meant that? Because if he did, that was brilliant. I mean, that ball was threaded through about 3 or 4 defenders.
Do you mean Daka or
Daka? Yeah, Daka.
I wasn't sure. Brad seems to think it was.
That's brilliant. And if it was, I mean, I'm not sure.
No, I'm. But at the end of the day, he picked out Maddison. It wasn't like it's a miss kick, and it's just you could, it was aimed there. So I'm guessing it kind of was, but Maddison put it away with aplomb. I must admit, I thought I was getting sucked into a black hole when Maddison went down injured and went off. The whole nation started going in one fell swoop. But obviously it was precautionary. And I was waiting for your message that never came through, going, shouldn't have played him.
No. I mean, I've been berated for that, and I made my point, and it was just a point. You asked me a question.
I know.
I did know, and I was just as gutted as anybody, really. And I still, you have to have the doubt if there's a twinge, if they feel something. They're not going to say, it's a worry. They're going to say, no problem, you're fine. But what will happen out there when he plays? That's what worries me. The thing I did notice as well, that a couple of other World Cup guys were poorly in the week. Raheem Sterling didn't even make the squad, did he? Because he was poorly. What's his name from Newcastle was on the bench because he'd been poorly. And you have to wonder. And I think, was it Swindon left a guy out? The guy from the Welsh squad didn't pick him, and they admitted because of the World Cup.
I'll go with you on that one. I'm not.
Sure, it rings a bell. That's
a little bit limited.
Yeah, it rings a bell. That was all. But I think what I'm saying is that people were very aware of it, and even those that played must have been.
And I think, and obviously, when I was disagreeing with you, I'm playing devil's advocate on these shows.
Well,
but
if we had the same opinions, it'd be boring as hell, wouldn't it?
It would. But do you think? Because when I was sort of trying to watch the game, because my stream was up and down like a bride's knickers, but when I was trying to watch the stream, once Maddison went off, the game turned, and can I just say, all the fans that were behind Danny Ward's goal in the second half must have collected. Well, they must be going home with a brand new kitchen, because West Ham didn't just throw the kitchen sink at us; they threw the fridge, the freezer, the washing machine, the dishwasher. None of it was hitting, which they were saying was their problem before, and they got punished.
Same on target, was it? Both of us, was it 5 or 6 on target?
No, I think they have.
They had about 20 shots, didn't they? But not many on target.
Not many on target at all. No, you've caught me out there. Sorry,
mate. I mean, I'm just guessing these things anyway, so don't worry about it. We agree with each other. We sound like we know what we're talking about.
They did. They had a hell of a lot more shots than us.
Yeah, but
I do remember that.
nothing effective. And of
But
course,
just,
Danny
this
Ward.
was it, And at the end of the day, as Brad always says to me, well, the only stat that matters is 2-0.
Yeah, it is right. And Danny Ward again. He was brilliant.
Yeah, they had 18 shots with 6 on target.
Right.
We had 9 with 6 on target.
Yeah, I thought so. So there you go.
But it's. I mean, all right, and I've got to say another slice of humble pie for me here. What a assist from Perez for Barnes' second goal.
I know. God, I couldn't believe it.
If only he could do that. Well, okay, I'm not going to say week in, week out because, we know Tielemans doesn't produce week in, week out, and Ronaldo doesn't produce at all these days. Sorry, Man United fans. But I just wish he could do it maybe every other game.
It's interesting because, you're right. And when we all slag him off, don't we? He's the first one on the list to go. But when I've watched him whenever he's got on the home games, when I've been there, and he does some very good stuff, which doesn't get noticed because it's not effective and it doesn't create anything. But the trouble is he sulks as well. That doesn't help his cause. So if you lose the ball or nobody's around, his hands are in the air and sulks.
Yeah,
Scott. Yeah.
He's magic. Does that work with that?
Perez?
No, I don't think it fits in. No.
But he does do, these odd little things where he'll win the ball back and then give it to somebody else, and nobody notices all that. So he has got it. And was it one of the European games when he came on? I think we'd won quite comfortably.
Yeah.
He scored a couple at the end or made a very good assist. And I don't know what it is with him. He just sulks when he don't get his own way.
And I think he hasn't really found his best position for Leicester because obviously we've got Maddison in probably what would be his best position. And let's face it, fans love to have one scapegoat. It always used to be Chilwell. How anybody could say Chilwell was a bad defender when he was first choice left back? I don't know. No. But West Ham there, Dave. I mean, 1 green, 4 red. I know West Ham unofficial invited him on today, but obviously, he's in hiding. Sure. But I mean, he's calling for Moyes' head. He wanted Moyes' head before this game. The natives are getting restless.
Well, one mate of mine wanted it before he joined the second time. He couldn't believe they've let him back in the club, but he's done okay. But I think he's doing Rodgers now. He's saying that, the fans are used to a European place, European games here, and now it's reality check. So he's defensive. You can't do that. Fans are not stupid. They don't fall for all that garbage. So he's got to be very careful, else he will lose it completely.
He has. And they seem to be doing what we were doing last. They seem to be a season behind us and thinking, we'll copy Leicester. But they're doing very well in Europe, but they're doing awful in the Premier League. And I don't think they'll go down. I think there are worse teams than West Ham. They are going through. Their slump is happening now, whereas it was at the end of the season. But I do.
He's still got the players by the sound of it.
I think he has. Yeah. I believe he has.
Vital.
Yeah,
and he's got a month to put it right.
Yeah, Scott quickly says what I think is the difference is Evans can read a game, but he's not very mobile. As for Faith, he's both mobile. I mean, for me, I'm sorry, but we don't renew. For me, we don't renew Evans' contract, and I don't mean that he's rubbish, he should go. He's just, when he gets injured now, if he stubs his toe, it's 4 weeks out. It's not, it's not 4 days. It's 4 weeks. And we can't afford to have one of our main central defenders out. It's like with Jamie Vardy, like I say, you get an age, and I know now if I cut my finger, it takes, a week to recover. When I was 17, 18, it was hours. So, that's the problem with Evans. I like him. He reads the game. He brings stability. But he is, not saying he's injury prone, but when he gets those injuries, he is out for a long time. Do you think Maddison will get much game time in the World Cup?
Yes.
It will be interesting to see, won't it?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on who we're playing, of course, but I think so. I mean, play people in form. What harm does it do to you?
It does. It
The
does.
other thing about
wonder. Sorry, Dave, carry on.
about playing at Evans.
Yeah.
He used to find that Harvey Barnes or whoever on the other side and Vardy with those long balls. He stopped doing that. He stands around in the middle of the back four looking where he doesn't know what to do with the ball now. I don't know whether that's because he was shell shocked with what was going on or whatever. I mean, to be fair, he's not actually played much in a good team, has he?
No,
this year?
no.
I mean, he's gone through all the crap, but he's not actually playing in a team that's playing well.
No.
So.
But, that's Leicester. I mean, we're on 4. We were up to 12, but, Villa got a win and have jumped over us. But I think 13th going into the World Cup, we'd have taken that after about 4 games, wouldn't we?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Manchester City. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. It's almost like they're handing it to Arsenal. There is a vulnerability about them. I mean, they couldn't... I just,
my argument, Chris. You remember my argument when we lost at home to them 1-0, Man City.
Yeah,
we didn't go for it for 70 minutes, and everyone said, "Well, that's the way to do it." That's the point. That was the whole game plan. We were keeping them at bay for 70 minutes and then having a go. Well, they scored after 46-7 minutes, didn't they? And we didn't have a go. So that's another 20 odd minutes we let them get away with it. Brentford had a go. If you look at the end, Brentford have 3 up front against them. They were attacking them with 3 forwards because they knew they were vulnerable. And that is so impressive. And even, I mean, Tony should have got a hat-trick, shouldn't he, at the end there? And they were still going for it, 98 minutes, 99 minutes,
Well, they got the winner in the 98th minute.
Yeah.
And, all right, you can say there's a little bit of luck in the fact that they were still playing then. But, you play to the whistle. And, I mean, do you think Tony should be on that plane going to Qatar?
I've always said he should, yeah. I would have taken him, no doubt. Although I know, have I heard he's got a bit of a strain today or something? Is he? He's injured.
You're ahead of me on that one.
I could be making this all up,
You've had a hot toddy.
I could do with one. We're going to call it an Elton now.
Yes, that's what it is called from now on. I love this on the paper today. The forthcoming Winter World Cup in Qatar has presented a number of problems to top-level teams this season. Manchester City striker Erling Haaland is the subject of a loan bid from non-league Ashton United.
Yeah, I saw that. That's brilliant, isn't it?
You gotta love it. Yeah. Ashton United, great team of the week for me for that.
What percentage of the wages they'll pay?
Well, yeah, exactly. You know what? Wouldn't it be great for soccer if Erling said, "Look, boss, let me go"? I mean, I wouldn't, because obviously if he goes and breaks his leg, he'll be peed off. But,
it would be great.
Yeah. It would
George Best used to like doing that, didn't he? And Jimmy Greaves, they used to go and do stuff like that.
Well, he's not going to the World Cup, is he? But
nothing else to do.
Yeah. But no, well done to Brentford. They deserved it. It is leaving, as we'll check the tables later, Man City off the pace, but it's a long season, and we'll see how Arsenal's squad develops. Everton. Now, if Moyes is under pressure, Lampard.
I think I said Friday, didn't I? I fear for them. I do fear for them. Lampard, I'm surprised. Is he still there today? He won't be. He won't be here in January, I'm sure. He's not a good manager. He's a lovely bloke, great footballer. But, what did he do? He took Derby to the playoff final, did he?
Yeah.
With a load of Chelsea players. Failed at Chelsea. He's not a successful manager, and Everton's a massive club. And I don't get it. I didn't get the appointment when it happened.
I don't know if, a failure at Chelsea, finishing fourth and getting a Champions League spot, is that failure when you're not allowed to sign any players? We'd take that, and we wouldn't, but I know what you're saying. But he could, the team that he had kind of built, Tuchel came in and obviously took them to the Champions League final and won it. Although they did lose the FA Cup final. Can't remember who it was to.
Really? Oh, blimey.
Who was it to?
I don't know. Some Mickey Mouse club at the bottom.
Yeah, so some little club from the Midlands. But yeah, whether these this is the problem, and it's a problem we'll come on to him as well later with Harry Potter at Chelsea, is when these teams come in, you can't say no because you don't know when that job's going to come up again.
Yeah.
So you've got to go for it, and that's why he had to go for Chelsea, because it was like me if he'd like being offered the Leicester job. You know, I can't sort of say no because I don't know if I'd ever be offered it again. Not that I would ever be offered it in the first place, of course. But
you never know, mate. Funny things.
You never know. But they lost to Bournemouth midweek in the Carabao Cup. I can't remember the score. 4-1, 3-1, something like that.
4-0, was it?
Oh, it was 4-0, was it?
Might be. Oh, yeah, probably.
Again, you that hot dog.
Say a score and say it with confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to doubt it? Exactly. But to then go to play the same team and lose again, it doesn't often happen. You usually get some sort of kickback, don't you? Sort of some,
I expected them to win, Everton. I really did, because of that reason. Because, well, if he's that good a manager, he's learnt. He knows what the crowd's like. It'll be a full house, and this is his chance to start turning it round. But they were pathetic, weren't they? They really were.
Yeah. I mean, the fans showed their displeasure at the end.
Yeah.
Apparently, it wasn't the Chelsea player that gave a shirt. It was somebody who just had a shirt in the crowd that threw the shirt at him. But the Everton player, according to Frank Lampard, went over because he had family in the away end. I mean, fans are allowed to show the displeasure, and different fans show it in different ways, and that's I think Frank quite accepted that. Yeah, that they're entitled to do that. Scott's just said, Chris, if you get the Leicester job, will Brad be the tactician and Craig be the team selector? Yeah, I'll just oversee it all. Not actually involved, just overseeing. But yeah, and I mean the one point off the bottom, and I know they've got. They said this morning on TalkSport, they've got like an extra point. Although I think it might have been James actually said yesterday as well. They've got -6 goal difference compared to Forest -19. So that's kind of like an extra point. But Forest are on a run at the moment, and Everton aren't. They're running down your leg like diarrhea. But Bournemouth, fair play to Bournemouth. Gary, I mean, I don't know what to do about Gary Neal, because I look at Man United and they offered, when they had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they had him on loan, from the away club, but they gave him the job before his loan deal was up, and then it all kind of went wrong.
Yeah.
Bournemouth haven't been taken over yet. I don't think that's still going through. Gary O'Neill came in after the Scots Parker, who didn't have the players with him at all. I think the players were glad to see him go. Immediately after the 9-0, got a 0-0, which was a fantastic result for him. Then he sort of, after a few games after beating us, he went on a bit of couldn't win, and now he's kind of back. He's won the last two. Luton are interested in him, allegedly. Does he get the job for you?
I think keeping him as caretaker for now would do well. Certainly to get them in a sensible position, and then maybe look at it next year. I wouldn't give him the job for the whole season though, because you've got to keep him on their toes. And when you look at people like Craig Shakespeare, did okay for a while, didn't he? And then it went wrong again, and that's the problem. They can't sustain it. So I think the structure there doesn't merit a top quality manager, because they can't get the money and they can't get the fans in. No. What's the capacity? About 13,000.
Yeah, no, about 12,000.
Yeah. So until they do build that new ground, which they've been threatening to do, they're going to be stuck and staying in the Premier League is their main option, their only option, really.
I think when you look at the ground is one stands still on scaffolding. The training pitch is squeezed in between the the ground and the edge of the boundary, and the car park is owned by the council. It is a shame. I mean, their story and what they've achieved is unreal.
My godson and his kids go, they're season ticket holders, and the kids love it. It's a great atmosphere. It's it's just a fantastic football club. But
it is, and I mean, I obviously I've been many times, and they make you welcome, but I just don't know how far they can go, because I'm thinking of Wimbledon, and that's no disrespect to Bournemouth, but you need the capacity to be able to grow. And how long can 11,000 fans, 12,000 fans? Yes, they're filling it every home game. Of course they are. It's only 12,000. How long can that keep the club going with the FFP and allowing them to go and buy bigger players, more expensive players, when they're getting those sort of numbers in? They need a bigger ground.
It can't. And the other thing with Wimbledon, of course, you can't kick yourself through like that anymore, can you? So you need the quality players. Wimbledon. I'm told Vinnie Jones was a quality player, but I didn't see much of it. But you got him, Wisey, and that lot, just kicking.
Funnily enough, I actually went to see it. In fact, I've got his picture up here. It was a meet and greet with Vinnie Jones at Bournemouth Football Club, funnily enough. And I wasn't going to tell him he wasn't a quality player. I did ask him about his singing career, and this was before he did the X Factor. And he told me politely where to go. My only saving grace was the fact that he did say it with a smile on his face.
Did he get an England? He got an England cap, didn't he? I'm sure he got an England cap.
I'm not sure.
I reckon he might have done. Don't know how, but he did. So Bournemouth can't do a Wimbledon, unfortunately. But I think, Gary O'Neill's done a fantastic job. He's obviously, as you say, got the players, because that's what you need. You need the players 100% behind you. And
it depends how ambitious he is, I guess, as well, because does he want to stay as a caretaker boss in the Premier League or a full-time boss in the Championship? And no disrespect, I love Luton. I wish they'd come up last season instead of Forest, but at the end of the day, they're mid-table in the Championship. They're not particularly going anywhere at the moment. If I was him, I'd sooner say, I'll thank you very much, but I'd sooner stay at Bournemouth. I'm in the Premier League. I'm playing Man United next week at Old Trafford. You're playing Huddersfield at the Potato
And also,
Stadium,
to be fair, with Luton, you're going to stay in the Championship, aren't you? Because as much as you like them, they're not going to come up.
No.
Scott's got to go.
Yeah, cheers, Scott. Thanks for popping in, mate. All the best. Hope you and your family are all well, sir. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. So, he's never going to take Luton in the Premier. So the only way is down from there. Bournemouth, he had nothing to lose, and he's doing a great job. As long as they stay up, he'll be a success.
Yeah. If they go down, he can blame Scott Parker, in fairness.
Yeah, he can blame anybody, but he's doing a decent job. He'll know when he's done as much as he can.
Yeah.
I think the signs are telling a little bit on him. He's starting to lose it a little bit on the pitch with the referees. Rightly so, in my opinion, when he did. But he's starting to come out and talk about VAR and stuff like that. So he's been sucked into the old angry management stuff.
but do you not think that that's his confidence coming out now, that he feels he's in a position where he can say these things?
Could be, and I don't blame him for doing it either.
No,
because he's right. I just wish Brendan would do a little bit of, sometimes.
I just think it's wrong that if you come out and you dare to say VAR's shit and the referee should have gone to Specsavers, you get hit with a huge fine. I think it's totally wrong, but
especially when they get away with being shit as well. The referees,
exactly.
VAR.
Exactly.
So,
But Liverpool finally did it. I mean, they let us down with Forest. They let us down with Leeds. Didn't they? Did 1-1. I mean, it was an early start after 6 minutes by Firmino, and you're thinking like, well, here we go. Is this going to be another 9-0? and then I always want to say Charlie Adams, but it's not. but Adams equalised after 9 minutes. Can't think of his first name now.
Che
Adams, that's it.
Chad,
Leicester lad, I
Che.
should remember him. Equalised after 9 minutes, but
He's from
they
Leicester,
got the job done, Liverpool, but they are still quite a way off. Is it too little, too late from them?
Yeah. They'd have to win 90% of their games, I think, in the second half. It's far too late for them. They can still sneak in the top four. We know that teams up there blow it every year, so somebody's going to blow it. It's going to be a little spot. Tottenham are probably likely to blow it the way they're playing. They cannot. I don't want to move on, but but they, they're the team that will blow it as usual. Arsenal, who knows with Arsenal? They have a habit of blowing it, but
I don't think Arsenal will blow the top four. They might blow the Premier League because of the size of the squad. But Man United could blow it. I mean, they're still developing. They've still got somebody that is, can't decide whether he wants to play for them or not. But like I said, I think it's probably top four ambitions for Liverpool at the moment. Southampton, new manager in from Luton. He's taken a gamble in doing that.
Big gamble.
Are they down this season?
I think they're on. Were they on my list? I can't remember now. Oh no, yeah, I had Southampton down at the start of the season. Southampton, Everton, and Forest were my three to go down. Not because
we'll be having a look at my three soon, and see how wrong I am with my predictions. I mean, they've threatened it for a few seasons, haven't they? So
I think it's a bad move for him to go there. Although I hope not, because I'd say I've got a lot of mates as Saints as well.
Yeah.
Well, they're not Saints, but they're Saints fans.
You've got mates at every club, haven't you?
Well, I seem to have, yeah, a few, even Newcastle and places like that. But
I think with the sin is in. Good evening, sir. We're just talking Southampton now. I can't remember, and I apologise profusely, but obviously with that name, are you a Saints fan, or is that just your moniker that you use on YouTube? They have, like I say, they have threatened, and in fairness to Ralph, he's done a fair job of just keeping them. I mean, how many managers would have suffered 2 9-0 defeats in following seasons?
Well, kept his job. That's the incredible thing. I got a lot of admiration for him.
I guess you're not a Southampton fan if you had them to go there. You've answered my question there.
But the problem is they were playing like we were at the start of the season. We were giving it large about Rodgers going, but they stayed tight with Ralph for a while. And I think I mentioned to you, listening to BBC Solent, could have been listening to BBC Leicester.
Yeah,
the way they were talking about their football team, and it was inevitable that unless the results turn around pretty dramatically, he was going to go. In fact, he took the pressure off Brendan Rodgers, didn't he, for quite a while?
Yes. I can remember somebody saying to me, if we got rid of Rodgers, would I take Ralph? And I think at one point I probably would have done, because what he was doing again was with a limited squad, but they've got new owners, but they're like Leicester. They're not that they have to sell, but they do sell to sort of carry on, and you can only do that for so long. Leicester do it with one player, but they seem to do it with two or three.
But they're known as Liverpool reserves, weren't they, at one stage?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is the season, unfortunately. That's your singer-songwriter. Nice one.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course, we do have a Leicester fan that sings the intro and the outro for the.
We do.
With a song called "Leicester Till I Die." But Saint, if you want to sing a little jingle, I'm after. Unfortunately, because I'm not working, I don't have a lot of money, so I've used my money up on jingles. But if you want to do a little song jingle for the radio station, I would give you a plug, definitely.
Let's do a deal, Chris. Let's do a deal. Oh right, okay. If he writes new music, newish artist, unsigned, then we'll play all his songs on our transmission shows on Surrey Hills Radio.
There
Because
you go, Saint.
that's for new music, and we play shed loads of new music by new bands and artists and everything. So we'll do that.
Saint, Surrey Hills Radio. Dave does the morning show on there.
Not this week. I'm on sick leave. I've decided.
He's on sick leave. Somebody else is doing the morning show this week.
Ollie.
But
Well, send it to Dave at surreyhillsradio.co.uk, and I will make sure it gets played, or any of the songs get played if you want to sell them. Yeah.
Let me just say it was Dave.
Dave at
Surrey
Hills Radio.
hillsradio.co.uk. There you go, sir. There you go, Saint.
We have a My Music as well, but that one will get to me, so I'll know who it is.
I feel like a dating agency. I feel like more people get together with Leicester Till I Die than any other football show.
There you go. That's your new strap line, mate.
Yeah. I will. The Leicester Till I Die song. Yeah, the Leicester Till I Die does include a bit of the national anthem, which of course you're allowed to play because it's non-copyright. But yes, they did do that, and he was the guy that wrote it. I think he lives in the Lake District, but he's a big Leicester fan. I wrote an England song for Euro 2020. You asked to play it on your channel 3 years ago. What was the song called? Remind me, Saint. Remind me. But there we go. But yeah, please do. Well, contact Dave. He will get your music on air for you and write us a jingle. Leicester, there's LTID Radio. That's what the radio station is called. There we go. Well, like I say, you've answered your question there, Saint. LTID Radio.
Did you say no? Of course it don't. Did you say you have to? It was Man United fan.
He said United. I'm presuming not Scunthorpe.
I was thinking more Cambridge, but there you go.
Hey, there we go. Anyway, let's get back to football, or people will be wondering what they've tuned into.
Can I just talk to you about Lampard and Chelsea? Statistics. 84 games he was in charge. He won 44 games, 17 draws, and 23 defeats. 163 goals for, 106 against. That's not good for Chelsea, is it? No. 106 goals against, 23 defeats. And I think that's why I said he was a failure, or seemed to be a failure there.
Well, he was a failure because they got rid of him. So in their eyes, he was deemed a failure, But as we all know in this wonderful world that we call English football, one team's failure is another team's success, How many teams last season would have loved to have finished 8th and got to a semi-final of a European Cup?
Yeah, but he had the worst points per game than any manager under Abramovich, though. So that was never going to end well, was it?
It wasn't, and let's be honest with you, it was proved right because, Tuchel came in and won them the Champions League. So you can't argue with that. We have to talk about them. Unfortunately, up the M1 and next to the rubbish bins. There's Notts County's smaller neighbour, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, we move on.
Yeah, I have got Dave coming on later at 9 o'clock. We'll probably talk more about this.
Yeah, I'll let you talk to him about this one. Yeah,
I think so. But no, I haven't got Forest to go down, so
Okay, I have.
Well done, but let's move on. What a game! How often? I mean, Leeds United did it to Bournemouth the other week. Tottenham Hotspur have now done it to Leeds United. What a ding-dong game. Talking about, conceding goals. I mean, Conte can't be happy, can he?
They can't do this all season. They cannot continue like this. You just cannot concede that many goals and expect to get in the top 4. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle were the last team that probably did it when they should have won the title that year under the Kevin Keegan thing. I'd love it. But nobody really. I mean, they're doing it it seems every week. I know it's not, but it seems it. And to pull back and then concede and then pull back is pretty astonishing, isn't it? But
it is, but
won't happen. Won't go on like that.
I don't know whether we are not seeing the demise of Conte, but we are seeing Conte running out of patience.
Yeah, he's a strange boy anyway, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's a winner, and I thought this was the best chance Spurs had got to actually win something, because they've got probably the best manager they've had for a long time, one that would stand up to Daniel Levy. He got backed, in fairness, he got backed, but there's just something, like you say, I can't believe I'm watching a Conte team winning 4-3. Because at Chelsea, that wasn't happening when he was there.
Well, they're still playing defensive, boring football as well. So how the hell? Against Leicester, we were pretty much on top, weren't we, for most of the 60 minutes, was it? And then they broke away, and of course they've got two of the best players in the league for breakaways.
Yeah,
and that's generally how they've done it.
And I watched them against Liverpool, because I did the watch along for Liverpool versus Spurs versus Liverpool. And I can't say either team. I mean, I also did the watch along for Burnley Blackburn, and Burnley as a team played better than either Liverpool or Tottenham. They couldn't find their own players, Tottenham and Liverpool. They were giving it away. The rumours are Juventus are waiting in the wings. Hey. I don't know how true that is.
I think on some notes that I was writing when we were talking a few weeks ago about it, I was saying Tottenham just can't stop conceding. So that's never going to be a good thing. I mean, where is it? Yeah, Spurs 2-0 down. And they just change it in the second half. Well, they can't keep doing that.
No.
Because it's not sustainable.
No.
So I think Conte's another Mourinho as well. If he doesn't get his own way, he thinks he's beyond it and above it.
Oh, well, yeah.
He'll bugger off. No doubt.
There's a thin line between self-belief and arrogance, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I think they're arrogant, which is why they're so successful or have been. But there's also another way of doing it. But yeah, that's how they do it.
But I think Tottenham, I mean, they're sat in fourth at the moment. They're only a point behind Newcastle. But, when you look, Newcastle, their last five, and we'll come on to Newcastle next, but it's 1-1-1-1-1. With Tottenham, it's lost, won, lost, won. Now, and you've got Liverpool come up behind you. All right, 1, lost, 1-1. But Man United are still hanging in there. There's a couple of like little terriers nipping round Tottenham's ankles, and I think if they don't end up in the Champions League, at least I think that will see Conte go. And they've struggled in the Champions League, haven't they, this season?
Yeah, and Newcastle aren't conceding. I think they've conceded less than anybody, haven't they? This year.
Well, we did West Ham earlier.
I'm sure they've conceded less goals than everybody else in the league.
They have conceded, let me tell you, 11 goals. Arsenal have conceded 11, so they're joint bottom.
Right. That's
we just got them after the World Cup. Who's worried? They've scored 29, which is, Manchester City have scored 4. Well, Erling Haaland has scored 40, I should say. So, I mean, Newcastle, look at it. I mean, Chelsea 1-0. I love it. I love Newcastle. Well done.
Yeah. Again, he's a good manager. We knew that. I don't know what the doubters were. Eddie Howe took some time out. I'm sure he spent his time wisely when he wasn't managing. And he came in with a plan. He must have known he was going to get a chance there. He must have done, because of the way Newcastle have worked in the past.
Yeah.
And if you look on the other side, Chelsea, I mean, what's Graham Potter thinking? Apart from payoff time, but I'm sure he's too professional and honest to think that when he goes into it. But he's not going to be there much longer, is he? I mean, it's just crazy.
It was an odd appointment by Bowie, and I thought, all right, fair enough. maybe you're going down a different angle to Abramovich, as in let's get a good English manager. And let's face it, when it comes to English managers, outside of Eddie Howe, Potter is probably certainly, in the top few. Get him in. Now, the question is, will he be given time? Because obviously at Brighton, he was given the time.
Yeah, no, Chelsea don't give anybody time, do they?
No.
I mean, he could end up with a worse record as a Chelsea manager. I hope I'm wrong to a degree, because it's never nice to see Chelsea struggle. Sorry.
I think when you're talking about that, I think that deserves one of these. Oh dear. I mean, Saint says here.
I think he's right. Yeah, could do.
Newcastle United could do a Leicester City.
It would be interesting.
There's no reason why not. There is absolutely no reason why not.
They've got no restrictions, have they, on the transfer window? They've got the crowd, they've got the structure, they've got the money, and he will know what he needs.
Yes,
and he'll get it.
Yeah. I still think they were very cheeky when they tried to come in for James Maddison, but didn't want to pay for him till later.
They'll probably do that again, won't they? They'll probably have another go.
When you've got the money like you've got, there's no, and I think I've got them down as a very good shout for the Carabao Cup. It says if they did, would it be bigger than Leicester City's? No, because when you look at Newcastle United, it's another bought title, if you want to use the old saying, isn't it? I mean, Leicester, they've got a lot more money. They probably played more for one player than we paid for the whole team that season.
Yeah, but a lot of bought titles didn't happen. You see how much money's been spent by clubs that just failed. So it takes a bit more, but I agree. I mean, they have got the money to do it, and they know they have to have it. Yeah. Every manager knows they have to have it, which is why Brendan's been moaning so much.
Yes, and I also think as well, when you look at Leicester, and you got to remember that was the season that we won the title, that Bournemouth had come up from and finished their story from being minus 27 points, I think, or minus 17 points in the fourth tier, and they'd made the journey all the way up to the Premier League. Yeah. Had we not won the title, I think that would have been the story of that season. But it was the fact that where we were last season, we were bottom. Newcastle were never quite that bad the season before, because Eddie Howe had come in mid-season. But we've been bottom longer than any other team had been bottom, and then gone on to win. And I think that's the thing with the Newcastle are not 5,000 to 1 to win the title this season. That's the thing.
But we weren't playing that badly that year, were we? We were losing the odd goal. I mean,
in that relegation, the Great Escape season, we were not getting hammered 6-2, 5-2, 4-2 this season. It was 1-0, 2-1. I read a very interesting piece on the Mercury website about that season and about Cranbridge. The one that got away, and I think possibly he was. I like Cranbridge because I tell you what, when he came on, and I felt a lot of Leicester players that season didn't want to take a shot. If they could pass, they'd pass it rather than take a shot. But Cranbridge came on, and at least he was taking shots. But the football world is littered with the ones that got away, isn't it?
Well, I liked him as well. I agree with you. I thought he was a decent player.
Yes.
And I'm surprised he didn't get much more game time.
Yeah. Apparently, Maddison going to Newcastle would be a mistake. He needs to go to United. I don't think Stockport United could afford him, Saint. I really don't.
No.
But talking about top of the table, Arsenal did us a favour. They beat Forest for us. Now they've gone and beat Wolves for us. Their new manager was in situ. But again, it's all gone wrong at Wolves, hasn't it?
Yes, since they sacked Nuno. I mean, it's all what we always say, isn't it? Be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
They were playing decent football under him. Everyone thought it was boring, but they were a decent side, hard to beat. And it's all gone wrong.
Yeah. No, Saint, in fact, when we beat you 5-2. That was in the relegation year, because it was after we beat you 5-2 that it all went tits up because we couldn't win a game after that. But I still watch that on YouTube. Whatever happened to Van Gaal? He was a great Man United manager, wasn't he? He could fall over at the touch of a button.
I love that dive. That was brilliant. I thought that was a classic football moment. That
Yeah,
the way he made his point brilliantly.
he did. I
Yeah.
like him as a man. Louis Van Gaal's army. Louis Van Gaal's. I mean, you got to love it. Not up there quite with that. You are an ostrich, but it was up there.
Tell you what, United had a good team then as well.
They did. Yeah,
it was a difficult side to beat. We were brilliant that night.
yeah. Arsenal at the top, Colonel. They are, and deservedly so. They have been the team of the season for me, and I have banter with Arsenal fans. And can I just say, sorry, talking about Arsenal, Miss Melina, who's a big Arsenal fan from Canada, I get on well with her. We have a laugh and a joke. She's on my channel all the time. She sent me a Toronto top over, and she'd come over recently to see her team, first game ever at the Emirates, which was the 5-0 win against Forest. She saw them play in Europe, and she went back, and she'd been very, very ill. And when I say very ill, I mean it was very ill. But, I mean, she's a fighter, and thank God people have been praying for her, and she's pulled through. So
brilliant.
it looks like things are going the right way. So not out the woods yet, but you can certainly come into the edge of the forest, as they say. So well done, Melina. And that's for you, Melina. Top of the league, come the World Cup, and deservedly so. Not sure whether you can, do it because you've only got a small squad, according to Arsenal fans, but they've stuck with Arteta, and it shows, Dave, what you can do if you stick with the manager.
He's all right. He was always all right. I think they expected too much too soon from the.
Yeah.
Jose made the point, wasn't it, about boring Chelsea's? Well, boring's not winning the title for 10 years, and I think it's quite a bit more now. So they are pretty tough as well, don't they? When you watch them, there's none of this. We go away to Liverpool or Manchester and roll over. They're really now pretty tough to beat everywhere.
I think the problem you have with a lot of these teams, not just Arsenal, and no disrespect saying, but definitely Man United, is that a lot of the fans only remember the Premier League years. Premier League's been going for 30 years. Now, when that started, the Premier League, I was 31. A lot of fans were not even a sparkle in their dad's eyes. So all they've known since they've been following football for these clubs is top four, Championship, FA Cup, Euro, Champions League. So that's what I think was why they're getting to moan. But yeah, well done to the Arsenal board. I know that they don't like the owners there at Arsenal, but they stuck with Arteta, and I think he's done what he had to do.
They had the same problem as us, didn't they? Bought a new stadium, couldn't afford players.
Yes, yeah. And again, be careful what you wish for. They wanted Wenger out,
Yeah.
Comment on that, David Kaputska, another one that got away. Yeah, we'll leave that one with you, Terry, I think. But Wolves, I think they could go down. They're set there. What I didn't want Leicester to be was in the bottom three for the 5 weeks of the World Cup, because I did not want to look at that table and think, God, look at that, where we're not. But Wolves, they've got to look at that for 5 weeks and go, but yeah, we're bottom.
Yeah. No, I mean, no matter what you say, we're saying that this break's come at the wrong time. It's come a long time for the world. But, we're going into it on a high. So all the kids that are there will be bouncing. They'll be taking them away maybe, or training with the youngsters. He'll be spreading the word against the players that are still there. People like Vardy will be around, Johnny Evans. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to get better. I think we'll come back even better than we left. And as far as you say about Wolves staying out of it, I've actually just found the notes I wrote, which is weird. But I think Wolves will get out of it. Not, it's going to be a long haul, but I think they'll get away from there when this guy settles in. and that was not even knowing who's going to join. I just think they've got too many good players. If they can get them all fit, I know it doesn't stop you going down, but if they can get them fit, they've got some good players there. Whereas you look at Forest, and they actually haven't.
They haven't, but for
Southampton-
Forest, it's come at a good time because they've said like they've
Yeah.
bought so many players
Yeah.
and they've not had time to gel. Now, some of those players have gone off. I know there's 4 with the Welsh squad or 3 with the Welsh squad, but that's great for Nottingham Forest because they can certainly do a lot of bondings. But it is what it is. We've got to live with it. Saint says here though, Dave, I'm 47. I know the bad time before United's reign. Everyone is talking about Ronaldo now. Interview. If that had been Maddison, would he have been sacked by now?
Well, he wouldn't do it.
No, I was going to make exactly the same point. Yeah.
I think Ronaldo's a disgrace. I mean, I've never actually liked him. I mean, he's incredible football, obviously. I never liked the bloke. I never liked his. Talk about arrogance. He should probably be a football manager.
Well, he was,
exactly.
wasn't he? Almost was for Portugal in that final. He was pacing up and down the touchline.
He's got history, hasn't he? He's got history. If it's not going his way, if he doesn't like it, then he throws his toys out the pram. And for a bloke that age now, an experienced world international quality footballer, I feel sorry for United. I feel sorry for Ten Hag.
But how often is Ten Hag? He needs to grow a pair because, he walked out of the ground. He doesn't want to be there. He's attacked with an Everton fan and broke his mobile phone. Anybody else would have been dropped.
Do you think he's got a say in it, though?
Well, he should have. He's the manager, and I think he's the manager that's come in. No, I know. But I think, again...
Sells a lot of shirts.
I don't think he's a yes man.
No, he's not. And that's why it's gone like it has now. Ronaldo sells lots of shirts, lots of merchandise all around the world, makes United a fortune.
Yes.
Now, they pay him a fortune, But this is the start of him being quietly removed. He's blown it. He's blown it now.
To be honest,
well, never play for United again.
No,
they'll take legal advice, breach a contract, and dismissal, whatever you call it. I can't remember what they call it now. But anyway, he'll get a sack.
No.
Inevitable.
I hope. I mean, I think he deserves it. I think if it's true that he approached Morgan, because I know they're good friends, they've done interviews before. But if he approached Morgan, then God, he deserves to go.
Well, he guaranteed he did. He got his agent to do it last year, didn't he? So he's doing it himself now. And they'll sack him. I do wonder if Man United would have bought him had he not been linked with Man City. No.
And then you're buying players for the wrong reasons, aren't you?
Do you reckon he'd have gone to Man City? Do you reckon Man City wanted him really? Or was that just another rumour? Who knows?
I don't think they did. I honestly don't think they did.
No, why would they? Why would they want him?
Yeah. Ronaldo or Haaland at the moment. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Ronaldo as a person. And yes, he does a lot of charity work, etc. But he's a spoiled brat. He's like Fofana's long lost uncle, isn't he?
Hey, bro. Excuse my coffee.
9:30 tonight, door. 9:30 tonight is on. Saying, would Leicester take him? No. Would Leicester? I would not want Ronaldo. Not the Ronaldo of now. Because he's disruptive.
Him and Vardy. Cool, Vardy. Crucify him, wouldn't he?
Oh, I mean, this is why when we won the title, there was not one, and they could say this is maybe where it went wrong after we won the title. There was no prima donnas in that team. They were called the Band of Brothers, and all right, you can bandy that about, no pun intended. But you bring somebody expensive in, and then everyone says, "Oh, I wonder what she's on." Oh, is he like? And it causes disruption. And Ronaldo would it'd be the worst thing Leicester could do would be to sign him.
Well, you're right. It did start a problem. Everyone got put on 100,000 a week, as far as I know. I don't know if it's totally true, but a lot of people did. And then it suddenly we were stuck with them. Because if we couldn't sell them on at a profit, like we did with Kante and the others.
Romani is the obvious one. £30 million we lost on that.
Yeah. So it is a dangerous game, and that's what happens when the press suddenly states how much somebody's on. And I think the exposure of money in the game has created a problem because everybody thinks people are on more than they actually are.
Yeah.
And that's for going to Newcastle, or what was the other one? Arsenal, no chance. Eddie Howe wouldn't even look at him.
No, not at all. Back to the games. Villa, well, Arsenal, did you get rid of him too soon, Mr. Emery? Came in, 2 wins, come back from, going to go down in the first minute to Brighton. This Villa have gone above us now, obviously, with this win. Ings 2 goals. I mean, he's getting Ings. All right, one was a penalty, I think, but I think you've got to look at it's going to be long term. I mean, I think Villa gave Gerrard as long as they could, and I think they will give Emery long. I think they've very much got owners like ourselves and Newcastle. We take it a step at a time. We're not going to run before we can walk, and I think Emery is going to be a good fit there at Villa.
Well, they've seen their mistake by appointing Gerrard. I mean, it was a great publicity stunt. He'd done well at Rangers, but then to be fair, you and me could do well at Rangers or Celtic or one of them. But it was a mistake. And now they've gone for an experienced manager. So at the moment, he's getting that little bit of glow, isn't he, where he's a new manager and everyone's bouncing to try and impress him. But get 10, 15 games in and then we'll see how it's going to work out.
Yes.
Because it could go either way. I mean, he's got this break to actually buy some new players.
Yeah, a great time, like we've said at the start, a great time to get a new manager in, or a great time to sacking a manager. Thing is, though, I think if anybody's joining now, they do get a free pass for this season.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, he'll get a few signings in January, but we all know January is not the best time. You're buying players because you're desperate for a particular position. Clubs know that. They up the price. You're paying over the odds for somebody that you might not want to keep full time. We did it with Tielemans, but we took him on loan first, which was great. We didn't commit to him in January. But he can say, well, this year I was stuck with Gerrard. Mainly was, he can only bring a few in. The new manager at Brighton, is it all going a little bit post Potter for Brighton, do you think?
I have no idea, mate. I really don't with Brighton. They've got some good players. They're trying to play a different system, which probably doesn't help them.
No,
but I don't know. I didn't know this guy when he came in, I must confess. Excuse me. So again, I think the jury's out on them. Give them another 5-10 games and see what happens. They could plummet.
Yes, they could.
I hope not, but they could.
Yeah. Not on the tin. I mean, Fulham have done really, really well. The best of the 3 that have come up, and they're still sat there in 9th place with 19 points. Man United, I'm surprised. They have really surprised me this season. I didn't think they would be doing as well as they can, because Eric Ten Hag's come in and gone, like, this is a rebuild job. I've got to do at Man United what Arteta has done at Arsenal. Get rid of the prima donnas, Ronaldo. Get rid of the players that are being paid too much for doing too little. Get my sort of players in and give me 2 or 3 seasons. And I think the fans, Man United fans on the whole, I'm sure Saint will correct me if I'm wrong, have sort of said, yeah, this is the guy that we need to give the time to. But he's not, he's keeping you up in 5th. I'm not going to say you get into in Champions League, because I don't think you will this season. But, I think you're going to, I would have thought maybe 8th or 9th this season as your first season of a rebuilding project. But he's doing well, in fairness to him, isn't he? With all the troubles he's got with, the spoiled brats in that team.
Well, I think he's doing the right thing. And if he can get rid of Ronaldo at Christmas, they won't want any money.
No.
Excuse me. So it just depends, whether Ronaldo will take a cut to go back to Portugal. I've heard rumours tonight that was always his end game, but nobody seems to want him because they can't afford him. It's not just the UK that's got financial problems.
Yeah.
Whether he'll decide America's the place for him, I'm not even sure. There's many clubs in America who want to pay a lot of money for him. But at least he can get the lifestyle that he wants and the exposure as a superstar out there.
Yeah.
He will go, aka Beckham.
He will go where he thinks he can win something, whether that's in Portugal or America. He would not. And he said this in the interview, didn't he? I mean, wherever he goes, he's looking at, can I win something at that club? Which isn't a bad attitude to have, in fairness, but there we go. There we go. It's Ronaldo.
He went to Man United.
Yeah, well, I guess with Man United, you're always on the cusp of possibly coming back. Look, it took Liverpool 30 years to come back to win the Premier League title. Arsenal and Man United, maybe you've got a few years to wait yet. Who knows? But they did it, and they did it in again the 93rd minute. So again, maybe that's
Fulham. Fulham unlucky, weren't they? To a degree. I didn't see all the game, but my son-in-law is a Fulham fan, and he was there. He wasn't very happy at the end. He thought they deserved a draw, but then he's a Fulham fan. Normally pretty objective, though.
Yeah. I don't think you'll finish second, Saint. Good luck to you. I just don't think that the other teams will drop off. It all depends, like you say, what happens with Ronaldo. I believe get him out, and I think you've cleared the decks a little bit.
So, do you think Spurs are going to be top then? I can't believe he put Man City top. Even if there's one game to go and there were 5 points behind, I can't believe he'd do that.
We will see. Oh, he's even put Liverpool in third, in fairness. But here we go. Look, this is the table as it stands. Arsenal 5 points clear. And hang on. Oh, my eyes! I tell you, I'm struggling to see.
I like that table. It's the form table. I love it.
Is it? Oh, is it the form table?
Yeah.
I've gone the wrong way around. It is the form table.
No, you haven't. Yeah. That's fine.
Just shows, doesn't it? And I put that up for a reason, because it just shows how fortunes can change in football.
And it's just staggering that Arsenal are top of it as well. They're so consistent this year. Newcastle 2 goals against him, and Leicester 1 goal against in 6. That's just ridiculous. That's like waking up, Wizard of Oz or something, isn't it? Waking up in Kansas or something like that. Yes. It really is ridiculous.
Yes. Now, Saint, don't be cheeky. But yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? You wouldn't have thought that at the start of the season, And just to counteract it, here's the other half of the form table. Chelsea in 15th.
Yeah.
I mean, they're behind Nottingham.
How many games has Potter been in charge of? It's about 6, isn't it? Plus European games.
He's doing better in Europe, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's the league is bread and butter. 5 goals in 6 games.
Yeah, but look where Everton are, and look where West Ham United are. And Southampton. It's the teams that are obviously in free fall. But let's have a look at the proper table. That was the order I thought I did it in, but fair enough. Arsenal, they're 5 points clear at Christmas. I know, which is what they're saying, but they are 5 points clear at Christmas. Well done to Arsenal. Well done. But I love Newcastle United being up there. I don't have anything against Newcastle United. I'm not opposed to the fact that they've got all that money pumped in, because, if you're a Rochdale or an Oldham and you look at Leicester, it's all relative, isn't it?
We'd all take it, wouldn't we?
Yes, yeah. And, they're not lost in 5. It's nice to see another team break that top 6 monopoly, like when we did it.
Yeah.
And we know they wouldn't do it, if they were still owned by Mike Ashley. But all credit to them. We've not quite made the top 10 there. Chelsea down to 8th. Liverpool are sneaking up, though. They're up to 6th. Fulham still hanging in there, in fairness, on 9th.
So this is what Man United do, They did that when they beat us into Europe. They were mid-table and started sneaking wins and coming up, and nobody really noticed them. And they end up in the Champions League. So, I wouldn't write them off.
No, it's true what you're saying here, saying historically Villa are the best team in the Midlands. Leicester would take a 7th place all day long. Thing is with history, you used to be the best team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? You could argue Forest are the best team in the Midlands because they've won the European Cup twice, 2 years in a row. But how long ago was that? Historically, there was dinosaurs on the earth. Now, you've just got a dinosaur playing for Man United in the number 7 shirt.
Yeah, Villa. Villa's
See
not
what I
won
did
much.
there? See how I sneaked that in?
Yeah, I tried to play over it, but
cheeky sod.
Yeah. No, look, I mean Villa have won nothing really, have they?
No,
recently.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
Even though they have a European Cup, they won that, which was impressive.
Everton. Look, they're in trouble. As are I think everybody, including Leicester. We're only 4 points above. Anybody? I mean, we've got Newcastle and Liverpool when we come back, so that could really change our whole season.
That's challenging, but we've got to play them. It's good. It's good we can play them.
Got to play them, indeed.
Look at Forest and Everton's goals scored. That's the worry, and West Ham. Forget Saints and Wolves. I mean, Wolves we know can't score goals, but goal difference of -19 Forest. That's going to crucify them. That'll cost them in the end.
Yeah,
unless they can change that.
Yeah. Colonel, now I'm sorry on that. I'm going to have to take you to task here. I don't think anybody dying makes the club better. And I think you'll find that when we won the Premier League, he wasn't actually dead. So, if you'd like to take that one back, I think it might be the gentlemanly thing to do.
Does he mean the other way, where we wouldn't be down the bottom if
that's a fair point, actually. And if that's your case, Colonel, then I apologise. I didn't read it as that. Maybe that's the defensive Leicester in me that everybody.
No, I think it's a trouble with bloody messages and everything like that. You can read them all both ways, and it could cause wars.
So I apologise, Colonel, for that. I do apologise. If you're saying the other way,
it has been a criticism, hasn't it, of that Top isn't his dad. Well, we know that, but and that he hasn't acted like his dad would. Okay, he didn't sack Brendan Rodgers, but you could say that he didn't panic, and look where it's got us. Top kept it going and just said to Brendan, when they have their meetings, look, I trust in you. You've done this for us. You've got time. And
let's face it, that it is. Football isn't about what you do now affects tomorrow. What you do now in football affects 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 seasons, maybe down the line.
Yeah.
We're where we are now because we couldn't make the investment in the summer. And we couldn't, we had got players there that weren't worth what we were paying them on a weekly basis. But that was contracts that Vichai had put in place, not Top, So, the fact that Hamza's on whatever he is and we can't get rid of him. Slimani we couldn't get rid of because he wouldn't take a wage cut. No. All these things were agreed by Vichai. So,
Can I just ask you a question? I don't know the answer to this. Last season, I bet we're in a better position now than we were after 15 games last year. Because if you remember, we didn't start playing till about 10 or 12 games towards the end, did we?
Do you know what? I can actually tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Because the system I'm on here, after 15 games, let's have a look. So 21-22, after 15 games, Leicester were 11th.
Okay. Fair
on
enough.
19 points.
Okay, so it's 2 points different.
Yeah.
And I know we had loads of injuries, but we weren't whinging then, were we? Because we accepted
Oh, there
we
was
were
a few that
struggling.
were whinging, I believe.
Nah,
I think
there's always a few whinge, but
Yes.
generally we knew the injury situation. We couldn't put a back two out, let alone a back four. And we were playing a Marty out of position. God. Which he's now managed to sort out. So it's not that different. It's not that different. Just the
Yeah.
way you do it.
Yes. I think the problem with his son here is that he's obviously been thrown into running a business. Now, the business that his dad owned was a hotel and duty-free business, which under COVID, a tourism business was hit worse than any other type of business, and we saw Thomas Cook go out of business, it was hit. I mean, airports were closed. So if you've got duty-frees at airports,
I did fear they'd have to sell the club. I did fear that it would cause bigger problems than it seems to have done.
There was that possibility, but is that, Top has kept all that running.
Yeah.
Just to talk pork pies for a second, because that's going on in the chat. The pork pies, if you say to Leicester pork pies, it doesn't spring to mind, and I wouldn't necessarily want pork pies in a jingle. I've got to be honest with you. They are world famous, but it is Melton. Yeah, Melton is part of Leicestershire, but it's Gary Walker's Crisps. There you go. Walker's Crisps are more famous in Leicester than Melton Mowbray. Melton Mowbray, that's where the pork pies are famous. Look, I want to leave on this note. Please don't put pork pies in. Please don't put pork pies in, mate. So here is what myself and Josh, another Leicester fan, predicted at the start, and this is where the teams are. And I know we're only sort of, less than halfway through the season yet, but we've got Man City to be top, and of course they are second. We both went Arsenal Liverpool second. And of course, it's Man City. We've got Spurs as third, and it's Newcastle, and Chelsea as fourth, as it's Tottenham. So we weren't. I mean, in fairness, at the top six, you're going to be there or thereabouts. One second. Can we avoid fox hunting as well, please? I don't want fox hunting in a jingle.
Is that Villa?
I think we're picking things here, Terry, that are totally inappropriate for radio jingles. And I just say that fox hunting, we will forget.
Leicester cheese sausage rolls. Cool.
Just stick to crisps. Just stick to crisps and Gary, please.
Well, I have no idea what's going on, so
there's jingle ideas. Saint suggested pork pies in a jingle, and I went, well, that's not really. I wouldn't just.
No.
It's Melton. It's not Leicester. And then Terry's come up with fox hunting, and I'm like, no, I don't want fox hunting at all. A, it's immoral, and B, well, I don't know whether it's still allowed or not, but it shouldn't be. Anyway, fifth is we went for Arsenal, and of course it's Man United. Sixth, we went for Man United, and it is Liverpool. And seventh, no, I put Newcastle in seventh, so I did think they were going to push for a place. And Villa, Josh thought Villa were going to do better than they were. Yeah, pretty much. Saint says you just want Leicester City being awesome in the lyrics. Yeah, pretty much. You could, the FA Cup win, the champion. No, it's about the radio station. So, like I say, it's LTID radio, and the catch line is the ultimate mix of music and sport. But it's Brighton that are up in seventh. Eighth, we both went for Leicester, and it's Chelsea. Ninth, we both went for West Ham, and it's Fulham. I had Villa in 10th. Josh had Newcastle, and it's Brentford. Hey, we got one right. Crystal Palace. 12th. Yeah, we weren't so far right with that. We both went Wolves at 13. Whoops. And Brentford and Everton at 14th. Forest, I'd got us 15th. So I think they will stay up. Brighton's had Josh had Brighton there. Everton 16th with Fulham 16th there for Josh. 17th, Fulham and Leeds. Southampton, well, we weren't so far wrong with Southampton. Bournemouth, both of us had the bottom three. I think they could still fall into the bottom three, unfortunately. And I think Forest there, I think Josh had his blue tinted spectacles on. How wrong was I with Leeds, though? Do you think Leeds will get dragged down into it again?
No, not now.
3
or 4 games ago, yes, but I think he's sorted that out now.
Again, another guy that was, within 90 minutes of a sack.
Yeah. He's got to shore the defence up a little bit, but I think that's his plan over the winter. Sorry, so I think he'll do that.
Yes, yeah, I think he will. And two managers that were favourites at the start of the season to get the sack, Lampard and Rodgers, still in situ.
One I'm surprised at. Can't believe Lampard's still in charge.
I don't either. I don't. But there we go, mate. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Apologies for the coughing and everything.
No. You. Well, like I say, go and get a hot toddy. At least you didn't have a hot toddy before the game, the show. You had one after.
Yeah, I should be better by January. So
you feel that this is probably going to hang around, would you say, until the World Cup's over?
Yeah, probably.
Hey, I mean, we come back from the World Cup. The World Cup's played on Sunday. Not that I think England's are going to be there anyway, but the World Cup's played on Sunday. We've got to play MK Dons the 3 weeks, 3 days later. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Cyber leader. Obviously, being West Ham, it comes in right at the end when it's too late to do anything. Oh, sorry, Cyber. Did I say that out loud? I do apologise. 2-0. Oh, bless you, Cyber. Bless you, Cyber, for coming in. Put your head above the parapet.
You've got some great guys come on here, haven't you? Seriously, I mean, from different clubs. It's a great thing to do.
To be honest with you, it's banter.
It is, but it gets fans together and different opinions. As I say, I mean, we disagreed on things in the past. It's just important to get everybody talking to each other. It's great. I love it. Love it.
Me and Brad will differ on our opinions 70% of the time. But when you get us off air, we actually agree on most things. But there's no point in me sitting there and saying, I agree with that.
You agree with Brad?
Off air. Off air. But the point, and people say, and I hate it when people come on. It's a Facebook group mainly. It's the Facebook brigade that come on and go like, "Well, you're stupid arse for saying that, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank you for adding something to the conversation. You've really added to the debate there, haven't you?" I mean, don't criticize the poster. Criticize, add to the debate.
Yeah.
But people always say like, I love it when they come up and say like, well, two weeks ago, Chris, you were saying exactly the opposite. And I said, well, if you read the rules on the Facebook page, it says that don't criticize the poster, during the debate, but it also says what I post isn't necessarily what I think. Facebook groups will only work because people react to it, people interact with it. And if I put something and everybody goes, yeah, he's right on that, and goes off and doesn't comment, I'm not getting any interaction. It's the same with Talk Sport. The number of people that go, God, I hate Talk Sport. They talk rubbish. Why do they talk rubbish? Well, they're always stuff. I'm going, so how do you react? Well, I'll ring them up and have a go. And exactly that's what they want you to do. God, it's like, I sometimes do and say, where's the missing link? I think you can find most missing links in stadiums around the country, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
But,
I mean, to be honest, I changed my mind from 3 or 4 weeks ago, totally. I wanted Brendan Rodgers to leave, and Marty never set foot on a pitch again. And I was moaning that, we had no defending midfielders. Now look at it. Can't let a goal in anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was wrong.
And like I say, you can look at mine. Mine is there for everybody to read on the BBC website, saying Rodgers, get out of my club. And last week going like, might give him another season now.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Graham Souness said it this morning. He was on Talk Sport and he was discussing Ronaldo, funnily enough. with Jim White and I can't think of the other guy's name that does it. Jordan, Simon Jordan.
Yeah, Simon Jordan.
Yeah. And the quote that I actually saw Graham Souness smile. I never thought I'd see that, but he actually said, "We're not fickle football fans, are we?" Or something like that. And I'm like, "That's it. That's dead on. That is dead on." Look, Dave, thank you so much.
You're welcome, mate.
We talked earlier about the fact that you do have a radio show. Where can people listen to your dulcet tones? Well, not this week, but your dulcet tones. Wake them up in the morning, get them out of bed.
We've got 40 other presenters as well, so we'll give them a plug. It's all the W's, surreyhillsradio.co.uk.
And the link is in the description below on YouTube.
On the internet.
Wake up in the morning with Dave. Yeah, that's frightening a bit, isn't it, really?
Hashtag don't tell the wife.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't use that as your catch line.
No, good point.
There's no debate show this Friday because we've got the World Cup Home Nations quiz where we've got a Welsh, an Irish, an English and a Scots fan. I know Scotland and Ireland are there, but you got to welcome along. They're part of the family in a World Cup quiz, so that's going to be interesting. World Cup coverage all over, and if you like banter, and thank you very much, Shane. If you like banter, then 9:30 tonight, me and Dave, Forest and Leicester fan, just having a go at each other and ending up talking about Tiswas. It is
perfect.
Great, but we will. It's either that or a bounty bar.
It's good night from me.
Dave, what we'll be hopefully after that we'll be having, or depending when the games are, because obviously all these games are at sort of Wales, I think is at 10 in the morning one day, but we will be having the banter show again, and we'll get you on other things as we do.
Right,
so,
no worries. No worries, mate. Have a good winter.
And you as well, as well. And I'll send you a message. I'm still trying to find a really cheap online DJing thing. So
right,
I'm struggling.
Right, pal.
Cheers, Dave. All the best, mate. Take care. Go and have a hot toddy.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. There we go. Not one Harry either. Not one Harry. Brad, were you watching? Were you watching, Brad? Not one. It's you. It's you, I'm sure. Look, thanks to Dave. Says it as he sees it, and so it should. But do check his radio station out. Wake up with him. Get him in your bed in the morning and wake up with him. Like he said, just don't tell the missus. surreyhillsradio.co.uk, online radio station. Get tuned in there. Saint, thank you very much. Get Vix on your chest. I don't know what his wife's called. I'm not sure she's called Vix, so we might not be able to get away with that. Do remember, Saint, send your music in to him and he'll make sure that gets played on Surrey Hills as well. There's a good listenership on that because obviously it's internet, so you can listen to it wherever you are. And thank you very much for the jingle. So I'm going to be back in... what time is it? Oh, I've no idea. I'm going to be back at 9:30, about 45, 50 minutes with the banter show. Thank you to everybody who was watching. Thank you to everybody who was listening in. Really do appreciate it. It's all about the banter. That's what football should be about. We banter each other and then we go off and have a pint together. Adults. Yeah, it's never going to last, is it? Thank you very much. I will see you at 9:30. Take care. Stay safe. Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.